We're live. It's always a mystery because this thing like loads, but I think we are actually live. So always bear with me when I'm going from Zoom to Facebook. It's just a little bit funky. Hi, I'm Elle Ingalls. I am the creator of the pressure-free method and pressure-free living, which is a lifestyle. It's a way of living where you're not triggering so much of your fight or flight stress hormones so that you can step into your true potential and you can, in some respects, you can find your true self. And I've had many clients say that to me. They're like, wow, Elle, you helped me find the real me, not the stressed out me, not the aggressive me, not the angry me, not the, oh my gosh, I'm losing my memory me. It goes on and on and on. So you get to step into your full potential, experience you as you were meant to be created. So tonight, our focus on this series of performance anxiety, and we're on day 2, is to really go deep on memory and what's happening with your brain when you experience performance anxiety. And for example, let's give some examples first. So for performance anxiety, you could be anxious about a test situation, even a driver's test situation. I have coached people who have repeatedly had difficulty passing their driver's test. And after learning the pressure-free method, they earn their driver's license, which is always a nice thing. It's quite embarrassing for people to not pass that test and to have, especially if you're a teen, late teen, you're really wanting to be able to pass that test, and everybody else is going ahead and they're driving and you're not. So it could be a driver's test, and we've got people still coming in on Zoom, and oh, Amanda's muted. Yay, so we're good. So let's dive into what happens when in these situations, like what's going on with your brain? Why is it that you have memory slips? If you're giving a speech and all of a sudden you can't remember your speech, if you're performing on an instrument or singing and all of a sudden you're forgetting the words or even the tune, or you're falling out of tune. So there's so many things that can be happening with our brains when we go into fight or flight. And I really kind of want to go deep on that tonight for you. First of all, so that you understand, number one, why it's happening, why you're feeling what you're feeling, that you're not, I guess the best word is like you're not crazy. For example, if you're in social situations and you meet someone for the first time, and then a few seconds later, you can't even remember who that person's name is, what that person's name is. I've had situations like that. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. What's wrong with me? I'll immediately kind of go to what's wrong with me. Why can't I remember their name? And what I've come to understand is that it really isn't my fault. If I've triggered the fight or flight, or freeze or fidget or fib or fawn, all the F words, by the way, or if you say the F word, that's a sure sign you're probably triggering the stress response. What's going on is that your hippocampus is shut down somewhat. Your hippocampus and your whole cortex, your outer brain here, your logical brain. So a few things: you lack focus because you can't make decisions very well. Willpower also shuts down. The two areas of the brain responsible for willpower are not functioning very well when we're in fight or flight. Your memory, your lodging of memory, and your accessing of memory, that's shut down as well. Your retrieval. Let's see what else. Oh, there's so many things because there's so much that this part of our brain does for us. So that's going to shut down somewhat when we're in fight or flight, which is why you go to a social situation and you meet someone and 5 seconds later, you can't remember their name. You actually can't lodge the memory so that then you can't retrieve the memory. So I hope that makes sense for you, because so many of my clients were like, I can't believe it. I can't remember anything. I sometimes forget my own kids' names. It's like, I can't remember anything. Yes, you can when you're free of these stress hormones. But if you're under the influence of these stress hormones for hours, you will have some difficulty, or you can have some difficulty. Everyone's a little different in how fight or flight affects them, but memory is certainly one of them. And memory is one of those things that when it seems like our memory isn't working very well, that can build an anxiety. So sometimes the very things that are the side effects of the stress hormones begin to create an anxiety in us And now we're constantly triggering those stress hormones because of that. So that's another thing that I've seen. That's like people are never out of the stress hormone cycle because of repeated releases of these hormones. So social situations, let's take performance situations. So if you are performing in any way, you're leading a meeting at your work, you are giving a speech, you're talking in church, you're doing a reading in church, like whatever it is, where you either have to have something memorized or you have to be able to see and read. So many times people say, oh, when I get nervous, I can't even see the page. Like it's so blurry. I can't focus and I actually skip lines. I've been in situations where I've heard people skip lines, like just completely miss words or skip lines because they can't focus on the actual words. I was working with a financial planner who shared with me that her test anxiety was so huge that when she would sit down to take her periodic testing for financial management, she could not even see the page and she couldn't even hear the instructor like telling her what to do or anything. Like her senses were so shut down. And so that's another thing that's going on. Your hearing changes and your eyesight changes when you're in fight or flight. So it may be very difficult for you to focus. When I was on stage and if I triggered fight or flight during a symphony concert or rehearsal, for a moment, the music is just blurry. Like I can't even see the notes very clearly. And then that passes and now I'm, getting back to it. So your performance definitely is affected by the fact that your brain is not working very cognitively. And that secondary anxiety that, oh no, I can't remember anything. So the cycle just kind of gets more and more intense. When we can break that cycle, so much starts to change for you. So let's take focus for a moment and decision making, because that's a really big part of how we cognitively function. And it is another reason why with test anxiety, with things like your driver's test, when you can't make decisions in a rational and I'm not going to even use the word quick, but a rational way, like a methodical way, it highly affects your performance. Even are you turning left or right? Is it, like you'll hit the wrong blinker. Just so many different little things will go down with that. So again, I just like to share that you may think that something's really wrong with you, like genetically wrong with you, because all of this is happening to you. And as we age, as we change and age, there are age factors too. And you'll hear, oh, wow, a perimenopausal woman will have a terrible memory. Da, 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 da. Honestly, it's the stress hormones that are causing most of that issue. It's not the other hormones. When you can get a handle on your stress hormones, that can change for you too. When I first started using the pressure-free method on myself, one of the first benefits I saw cognitively was that I could memorize music in minutes that used to take me months. And one of the things I realized was that I didn't trust myself, because under the influence of stress hormones, you do forget. So I was in such a pattern for so long of forgetting that I didn't think it was possible to remember as quickly as I was then able to. My sons have seen a huge effect that way as well, just that they are able to remember so much more, retain so much more. My youngest son learned the pressure-free method when he was 10, and he has pretty much full recall from one listen or one read of anything. Like it's just so amazing. And it's because, and it's funny, they've taken on this term, I don't have stress sludge in my brain, is what they say. But you know what? They're really not too far off, because all of those plaques that build up in our brain, when we trigger the stress response, one neurobiologist describes it as you're lining all your neurons up on the edge of a cliff, and just the slightest change in blood pressure kills them. Well, what happens when we go into fight or flight? Our blood pressure goes up. So the stress hormones weaken our brain cells, and then they're just not making it. So that's really huge to think about. Now, the brain is incredibly resilient. I'm fortunate enough to have worked through a brain certification program with Dr. Amen. who is a really amazing neurobiologist and neuroscientist. Yeah, he's a great guy. Amanda's giving a thumbs up on the Zoom here. He's a great guy. And one of the things I love that he says is that the brain can change. Your brain is not fixed. Your brain can change. And when you start to clean it by not releasing these hormones, and by the way, every night your brain is supposed to go through a cleaning cycle. It can't go through that cycle if you trigger the stress response. It's actually just trying to get the hormones out of the cells and get the glucose and cortisol in there so that the cells can get back to normal. So the brain it can't even do what it's supposed to do if you've got a bunch of stress sludge in there. So I love the fact that Dr. Amen says your brain can change and there is hope for you. So what I really want to do, and yeah, his book, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. It really did change your life, Amanda. That's so cool. I'm so glad. So yeah, I mean, it is a life-changing book. If you haven't read his book, it's really quite amazing. And I think he has one specifically on the female brain now as well, because our brains are very different. I wish he'd do one on a violinist brain, because string instrument performers, we have very different brains than other people. We like have whole areas that are bigger. And I think that some of it is because we're doing two different things with our hands. We're watching music, we're watching a conductor or our partner, whatever, you know, our accompanist or whoever we're playing with. Like, there's so many multiple things at the same time. It's quite insane, really. So let's see, your brain can change. Every few seconds, the scaffolding that makes up your neurons, pieces of that are actually changing out all the time. So what are you feeding your brain? I talk about this with my clients, and I'm not talking about just food. I'm talking about what are you feeding your brain in terms of thoughts that could trigger the stress response. Because if you can prevent some of those thoughts from causing you to trigger the stress response, your brain is going to be so happy. It's going to be so happy. One of the things that I work on my clients with is simply being open to possibility. That's going to be a theme I run through all of these nights in this series. Are you open to the possibility that your brain can work better for you? You know, the moment you say the word open and the word possibility, it's like everything opens. Your very heart opens, your throat opens, your brain opens to the possibility that something could change. So there's a little rubric I use. I use it a lot, and I share it right here. I use it with my clients, but I also share it on my free lives. I talk about how if you hear yourself say, well, I'm not very good at math. Well, I'm not very good at math. Like, if you ever say something similar, like you're not very good at something, I want you to start catching yourself. And I want you to pause for a moment and see if you can say these next words. I'm now open to the possibility. Or you could say, let's start the first one. It's like, in the past, I haven't been very good at math, but I'm now open to the possibility that I could become better at math. So open to the possibility is the thing that a lot of coaches miss. It's like we try to jump from I'm not good at math to I am good at math. I'm just going to get this tutor and now I'm going to be good at math. But we have to be open. If we're not open to change, we will have a lot of tension that will trigger the stress response, and we can't learn. You can't become good at something. So if you can do that little, okay, in the past, I wasn't very good at that. I'm now open to the possibility that I could be. The human brain likes possibility. And you can start to open that up a little bit. When it comes to pressure-free living, I have a lot of clients who are extremely skeptical when they come to me. Like, I've tried everything and I'm still a mess of stress. And I don't think you can help me, but I'm here. And I actually really love highly skeptical clients because usually they have really big transformations. So I'm just going to spin out this little story. I haven't done it in a long, long time, but with my clients on an intake session, this is something that I used to do, and I think it would be fun to do tonight because it goes along with this 3-step thing I just shared with you. I grew up on Lake Winnipesaukee and in New Hampshire, And so there are these beautiful long boats, historic boats. There's the Miss Meredith and there's the Miss Winnipesaukee. Like these are gorgeous boats. Believe it or not, I was actually in the Miss Winnipesaukee beauty pageant. So it's like, I really love these boats. I really love Winnipesaukee. I actually thought I owned the lake because my actual initials are PES growing up. And I thought, oh, this is my lake because those are the initials right in the middle of Winnipesaukee. So I had a lot of great memories. What I like to do with my clients is say, okay, most of us live on stressed out islands. We are just so stressed. We're harming ourselves every single day with the releases of these stress hormones. We're not treating our families very well. We're not treating our partners and extended family very well. We're not even treating the cashier down the street very well. It's because we can't even see them or hear them. We're just locked in a bunch of mess of stress all day. So stressed out island is where most of us live. I want you to come down to the dock and hop in my boat with me. I know how to drive really well. So we're going to take a little trip, and we're in the Miss Meredith, which is a smaller little racy boat, historic. And we're going to take a little trip over to what I call the Island of Hope and Possibility. When we get to the Island of Hope and Possibility and we dock and we tie up and you step onto that dock, everybody there that you see is going to have a little bit of a smile on their face. Everybody that you encounter is actually going to notice you and see you. And if you speak, they're going to hear you. So we're going to start walking around on the Island of Hope and Possibility. And you actually start to feel it in your heart. Like, oh, maybe this could be possible for me. Look at all these other people. Like, they've achieved it. Like, something's going on here. You'll start to feel that a little bit. And then we're going to spend some time there. I'm going to teach you how to drive my boat. I'm going to toss you the keys. That's what happens after the first 2 sessions of pressure-free living. I toss you the keys. So now you're going back and forth over to the Island of Hope and Possibility. And you're starting to really like it there. And you're starting to think, let's move here. So you get a little house there. But now there's a bigger house. And that a bigger island. That island is the island of probability. You are probably going to break through. Not just possibly, but probably. Takes a bigger boat to get there. It's going to take the whole course to get there. So we're going to hop in the Miss Winnipesaukee, which is I should get pictures of here. It's like a thunderbolt of boat. It's amazing. So we're going to get in there, and I know how to drive it. So I'm going to take you over. Now, when we step out on the dock, it's not just a little smile. It is a full-blown welcome and greeting. And it's like not even positivity as much as optimal feeling. Like people are doing some serious work on Probable Island. I also call it Pressure-Free Island. They're doing some really serious work. So you're not going to see like Cheshire cat smiles. You're going to see true, real smiles. And you're also going to have this feeling like people are truly on a mission. I sometimes wonder as I walk through neighborhoods, if I knocked on doors, how many people are actually doing something? Really? We've created a society of a ton of people that aren't even doing anything. What is that? It's incredible to me. So it's like, okay, everyone on this island has mission, purpose, they're creating, they're making things. There is no reason why any neighborhood can't completely transform. They can't transform if they're releasing stress hormones all the time and they're living in fear. They can't. They won't even pick up their room. They won't even pick up their house. I have 2 clients right now that have texted me in the past few weeks and they're like, does pressure-free make you clean? I'm like, oh, what's going on? And they go, this one was that I have cleaned and organized my entire house. My husband has never seen that before. They don't have children. It's just the 2 of them. She goes, but like everything is in its place and I actually can't stand it if things are not in their place now. And it's because she's getting clean from the inside. Like her mind is getting clean. So it's really cool to watch that start to happen. So on Pressure-Free Island, you get to have purpose and mission. You get to start on the path. And you get to do it without the release of stress hormones, which means when you go to share or do anything, you're not going to have performance anxiety. You're not going to have butterflies in your stomach. Your face isn't going to turn red because you're afraid you might make a mistake. You actually get to step into your full potential. You get to do that. So that's how I kind of explain what we're going to do together when I'm working with a new client. I haven't shared that in a long, long time, but it was just coming up for me to share it because it's a visual of like, yeah, it takes some work to get there. And again, I'm going to toss you my keys because you might have to go back and forth to possibility and probability for a while. Like, okay, I have the hope and possibility, but I'm not quite there yet. I had one woman, I actually coached a woman who was 80 years old. She heard about me. She lived a few towns over from me, and she was a farmer with her husband. So I drove to her farm to coach her. She's the mother of a former Olympian gold medalist, actually. So I started working with this woman, and she said, I get to about 5 or 6 o'clock, and I'm really pressure free, but then something happens, and I trigger. So it's like the evening hours were the tough ones for her. And so I don't know what possessed me actually, but I just look straight in her eyes and I go, I know you can do this. I know you can do this. You're so close to actually going the whole day. So when your head hits the pillow, you're going to sleep really well. And that's exactly what happened 2 nights later. Like, she went the whole day and she texted me and said, I did it. I finally did it. So I love to share that because an old dog can learn new tricks. She was 80 and she was so inspirational. And it was an honor to coach her. So whatever your age and whatever conditions, you can start to get this brain clean so that you can perform your day with much less anxiety. And on the Zoom here, I'm seeing a lovely little boy. That's just making me really happy. So what are the things that you do performance-wise? Just kind of make a list of them, because I'm not just talking about like the big things, taking the stage, or if you're a professional athlete or any of those. I'm talking about how we do our day. Like, how do you drive someone somewhere? How do you drive yourself somewhere? How do you perform that action? Any of your actions in your day, you can take a step back and kind of look at them and ask yourself, do I do it in a hurry? Do I do it angry? Do I do it anxiously? I clearly remember this time I had to take my son to a hockey game early in the morning. And I was been using pressure free for a few months, like doing it, creating it, doing it. And as we were driving, we hit a patch of black ice. There are cars all off the road. I'm in our little Prius. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And I just calmly held the wheel. I didn't white knuckle it. I kept my abs relaxed. I didn't white knuckle it. And we just went right over the ice without any issue whatsoever. And so it was I really noted that had I tightened up, I might have like turned the wheel a little bit, which is probably what all these other people had done, which is why they were off the road. So I just stayed real calm, cool, collected, and didn't white knuckle my steering wheel. So are you holding your steering wheel too tightly? What else do you hold tightly? Where in your body are you tight? I was with my body coach tonight. She was having us do a body scan. One of my clients years ago, she worked at a Fortune 500 company. She would put a little chime on her computer for every hour to do a body scan to release where she was holding tension, like in the jaw, in the throat, in the belly, in her hands, in her feet. Sometimes we hold our hands tightly. Where are you holding the tension? So some tools tonight. The first one is that. Start to notice where you hold tension. One of my clients squeezed so tightly that she had scars on her hands from squeezing so tightly. So are your hands tense? One fellow I was working with, I was in his office. I could not find where he was holding tension. And then I looked down at his feet, and his toes were all curled up inside his shoes, like really tight. I'm like, oh, that's where you're holding your tension, in your shoes, in your toes. He's like, yeah, I do that every day. And he also like takes his legs and winds them around the rungs of his chair, like really tight. And so he's like, yeah, it's all in my lower legs. So we usually have a place where we're holding a lot of tension. So that's the first thing you can do, just to do a little body scan. And wherever you feel that tension, see if you can open it up. Here's a really big hint for you, by the way. It's very hard to release any part of your body if your abs are tight. So if you relax your abs tight, your tight abs, so you should relax them. I'm not saying stick your belly out, but just like relax those muscles. It'll probably go out, by the way, but just relax those muscles and you'll notice it's easier now to relax your jaw. It's easier to relax your fingers. But if you tighten your abs, like I can feel it in my fingers, like it's a little hard if they're not fully relaxed. So think about that for like me as a performing violinist. If my abs are tight, my fingers are tight. If I can relax here, something different is going to happen. If I were a singer, I do sing, but you don't want to hear me sing. If I relax my belly, now my throat is open. If my belly is tight, this is going to be different. Even the way we talk to our loved ones, if your belly is tight, they're going to hear a little grating, a tightness in your voice, and it's repellent. In fact, it can cause fight or flight in them. So when you relax your abs, your voice is going to get more open. And here's another thing that I'm working with a client on right now, and that's pitch differentiation in the voice. So if you are having conversation with people and you want them to really listen to you, we think of monotone, like you're keeping the same tone the whole time, you're not varying your tone. But also if you can, do you hear how my pitch is like going up and down? It's more, it's almost like a song, like even there, it's almost like a song. People come into that. Children love it, but all of us love it because it is much more freeing. We're moving slightly between the speaking voice and the singing voice, but a lot of us are between the speaking voice and the yelling voice, which is gradier, tougher. So you can play with that a little bit. That can be a really great tool for you to improve your communication style, which then improves your performance. A couple of tools specific to performance anxiety that can definitely help your brain. The first is to relax your abs. And I've been doing this a lot with my clients lately. I don't even know if I've done it on live yet, but if you put a hand on your belly and relax your abs and take your hand and go over your belly to where it tucks back in, so you're getting like the pinky edge of your hand so that your belly is kind of on your hand, and close your eyes for a moment and like feel that spot, and now see if you can relax where your pinkies are. See if you can relax that spot, really deep lower abs. If you look at most other animals, their bellies don't tuck in. It's just all one in their abdomens. But we've built so much tension in our lower abs and in our upper abs as well. That spot, by the way, where your pinky hand is, I call that your safety spot, your money, your love, and your power. I'm not talking about force. I'm talking about deep empowerment. When you can deeply relax that spot, something can shift. As an orchestral conductor, I learned very early on that I can't be conducting the orchestra up here by my face. They will not like that. And I certainly can't get a big sound. I've got to bring my beat down low, closer to that power center, closer to where that space is right there. And the lower I bring it, the more power I can get, especially from that brass in the back of the stage. So I can't be conducting up here. I got to go down into where my real power is. So when you relax that spot, I like to think of it as a little pilot light suddenly is like a hot air balloon flame inside you. And that opens you up so that you can step into your true potential and you can feel empowered, not force, but empowered from the inside out. My clients who've been playing along with this, some of them say, like, I feel like a magnet, like everything comes to me now. Like I don't have to force my agenda on anything. It's all more flow. So flow is definitely something that we're after with Pressure Free, that you're not having to force your agenda or push people around to get what you need and want, but you have the true power to be able to do it. It's coming from deep within. So that's what I wanted to share tonight, is this idea of your memory, that your memory isn't going, it's just totally affected by the fight or flight stress hormones. And once you can get clear of that, so much can change for you. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to go off now and talk to those who are on Zoom. I see some people here. And if you have any questions or you want to learn more, go deeper with me, please just go to elleingles.com. You will see a little button where you can book a free call with me, and I can learn more about you to see how pressure-free may play a role in your life and be of help to you. So I wish you a great pressure-free night. Bye.